So there are a lot of crazy things going on in the economy right now. The stock market's crashing, consumer prices are going up, consumer confidence is going down, layoffs are increasing all over the United States, and people are starting to wonder, is this 2008 all over again? For you guys who are too young to remember that, 2008 was a giant, huge crash in the economy with a tremendous increase in foreclosures, layoffs, unemployment. It was a mess. I was around during that time. I was practicing law, and I was helping people at that time save their homes and get through that crisis. Are we doing that again? Let's talk about it in about 5 seconds.
Para quererte tengo tantas razones, para quererte cariño tantas razones, para quererte, para quererte, para quererte.
So I'm an old foreclosure warrior. I was around in 2008. I just started practicing law around that time, and I had thousands and thousands of clients who were losing their homes. In the United States, if you don't remember this, about 2 to 3% of the homes in the entire United States were in foreclosure, and about 5% of the homes in South Florida were in that situation. That doesn't sound like a lot, but that represented millions and millions of homes that were being lost due to unemployment and people being unable to pay their homes. There was also a giant, sharp decrease in the value of the homes versus the amount of money people owed, and that caused people to not be able to pay their mortgages. There was also a huge, steep increase in interest rates that when that happened, the prices doubled, tripled in their monthly payments, and they were unable to make their payments. So does that mean that we're going into a very similar situation now in 2025 with all these crazy things going on in the economy? Are we going to go back into 2008 mode, and are we going to hit another recession? There probably will be a recession, but it's not going to be 2008 style. We will not have the same exact thing happen. However, there is an effect to all of this chaos. When people start losing their jobs and they can't pay their homes, there will be an increase in foreclosures, of course. If you don't have any income, then you can't pay your homes. At the time, there were mortgage modification programs and things that existed. Now the federal government has no mortgage modification programs where they force the banks to modify the loans. Many banks are still doing that. However, it's a case by case and it's not regulated by anybody. So if the bank wants to modify you and it makes some sort of business sense for them to do it, they'll do it. If they don't, then what's going to happen is the house is going to go into foreclosure. So what does that mean for people? What does the effect of this increase in foreclosures actually mean? Well, one of the things that's going to happen is as foreclosures go up, prices are going to start going down. Why is that? Because people want to get out of the foreclosure. And how do you do that? By selling your house. So that means that people somehow before were holding on to their homes and trying to get as much equity as possible, now just don't want to lose their money, or they need their money now because they don't have any income. They're going to start dropping the prices. As foreclosures go up, prices are going to go down and sales are going to start going up. That means there's going to be a lot more movement in the real estate market. The real estate market has basically been frozen for the last few years, but it seems like with the increase of foreclosures, that's going to dislodge a lot of homes from people's hands, and they're going to go into the market and people are going to start buying them. The issue is that if this trend continues and the prices keep dropping, eventually what's going to happen is the prices are going to drop so low, like in this graph, where the prices drop so low that they drop below this black line, which is what people owe on their homes. When that happens, when the prices are below what people owe, and people owe a lot of money on their homes, that's when we get into a crisis. Because when that happens, people can't sell their homes. Then they're relying on loan modifications. The only way to save their homes. They can't actually get out of it by selling or refinancing. Right now, you can still refinance if you have income. If you don't have income, you can't refinance. Eventually, if the prices keep dropping and the foreclosures keep going up, then we're gonna hit this red zone here, which is the danger zone. The danger zone is when there's so many properties underwater that you cannot sell them, that people just say, all right, whatever, just let it go. When that happens, foreclosures are going to explode. And that is probably the way this is going to go. If the prices drop and the debts continue to grow, eventually what's going to happen is there's going to be a giant explosion in foreclosures because people just let their properties go. Remember, a lot of people bought second homes. They bought Airbnbs. They bought a bunch of properties to try to rent them out. If the economy is bad, people aren't going to be traveling, people aren't going to be renting Airbnbs, and those Airbnbs have huge payments every single month. Those are the first that's going to go. In my opinion, a lot of people are going to drop their Airbnbs or they're trying to sell them now at whatever discount. What does that mean for the investor? What does that mean for the homeowner? For the homeowner, you got to keep on your bank. If you're unable to pay your mortgage, you got to talk to your bank, see if you get a loan modification. If you're an investor, what you're going to see is an increase in foreclosures. This is the time to really monitor the foreclosure sites and to really learn about foreclosures so you can buy them either from auction or from people who are in foreclosure. You can go to them and ask them, hey, sell me your house, let's figure out a market price that works for both of us. It's going to be reduced because the prices are going to go down. This is the opportunity. That second scenario is better because then everybody gets paid. The foreclosure option obviously is good for the investor because they're going to get the prices, they're going to get the properties at a discount. But you can still try to work it out with the homeowner and see if maybe you can buy directly from them. My name is Diego Mendez. I am an attorney here in Miami, Florida. I've been doing this for about 19, almost 20 years. I've represented thousands of people in foreclosures. I've represented thousands of people who are losing their homes. I also represent investors who are looking to buy, and I teach people how to do that. I am a foreclosure coach here in Miami, Florida. Keep watching my channel. Check out my Instagram. I also have videos on there about this subject. But keep your eyes open. 2025, 2026, things are going to start getting crazy.
Para querer